Okay guys, magandang araw. So let's continue our lesson. So last time na-discuss natin yung classical school and yung neoclassical. So ang next topic natin, no? So bali ito pala yung magiging last lesson ng ating midterm examination. So ang mangyayari, yung sa prelim topics natin, kukuha pa rin siguro ako doon ng around 10 to 20 items. Then yung natitira ay dito ko kukunin sa discussion na 'to tsaka yung unang lesson na na-discuss natin last time, 'no? So, yun yung mga dapat reviewin para sa magiging midterm examination next week. So, topic natin is positivist school. So, ang positivist school, no, founded by August Comte. So, siya ang founder ng positivist school and sociology. Then si Cesar Lombroso naman ang tinawag nating father of modern criminology. Kasi siya yung nagpalaganap ng positivist school. Then meron siyang dalawang estudyante na si Enrico Ferri and si Rafael Garofalo na kung saan silang tatlo ay tinawag na Holy Tree of Criminology. Okay, so ang Holy Tree of Criminology, ulitin ko, si Cesar Lombroso, Enrico Ferri, and si Rafael Garofalo. Okay? So it has attempted to find scientific objectivity for the measurement and quantification of criminal behavior. So, sinasabi natin nung nakaraan na ang classical school ay focus sa crime. Then, ang neoclassical naman is focus siya dun sa mga exemption, no? Yung sa bata and dun sa may problem sa pag-iisip. Then, eto naman, sa positivist school is focus naman siya sa person. Okay? So, dito, sinubukan daw na maghanap ng mga scientific objectivity para masukat kung ano nga ba yung dahilan bakit humahantong sa criminal behavior ang isang tao or bakit ba nagkakaroon ng criminal behavior ang isang tao. Then, sabi pa rito, its method was developed by observing the character. Okay, next natin. Its method was developed by observing the characteristics of criminals to observe what may be the root cause of their behavior or action. So, since sinasabi natin ang positivist ay focus dun sa person or sa criminal, no? So, sinasabi na nakapag-develop sila ng method na kung saan inoobserbahan yung mga characteristics or katangian ng isang kriminal. And based doon sa observation na yon, makikita daw nila kung ano ba yung dahilan kung bakit gumagawa ng krimen ang mga tao or bakit siya nagkaroon ng criminal behavior. Then sabi pa, since the positivist school of ideas came around, research revolving around its ideas sought to identify some of the key differences between those who were deemed criminals and those who were not, often without considering flaws in the label of what a criminal is. Okay, so dahil nagkaroon na nga ng idea ng mga positivists. Okay, so nagkaroon na ng mga iba't ibang research. Okay, so may mga pag-aaral na lumabas. Pinag-aaralan na yung mga criminal and pinag-aaralan din yung mga hindi criminal. No? So, kumbaga, kinumpare nila yung observation na nakita nila dun sa mga criminal and dun sa mga non-criminal. Okay? So, yung result doon is yun yung sinasabi nila, yung result ng pinagkakaiba na yun is yun yung masasabi nilang dahilan kung bakit gumagawa ng krimen ang isang tao. As the scientific method became the major paradigm in the search for knowledge, the classical school's social philosophy was replaced by the quest for scientific laws that would be discovered by experts. It is divided into biological, psychological, and social laws. Okay? So, yun nga, naging paradigm na yung scientific method or halos dito na umiikot yung pag-aaral pagdating sa criminology nung nagkaroon ng positivist school. Then yung classical school natin, 'di ba, may social philosophy siya na tinatawag. Kumbaga, napalitan na 'yon ng quest daw for scientific laws. Kumbaga, puro scientific laws or puro based by science na yung mga hinahanap nilang dahilan kung bakit nakakagawa ng krimen ang isang tao. And itong scientific quest for scientific laws na to ay nahati sa tatlo, no? Biological, psychological, and social, no? Yung sa biological, ang nag-pioneer niyan is si Cesar Lombroso. Then ang psychological, si Enrico Ferri naman yung sa psychological, and yung sa social naman is si Rafael Garofalo. Okay, so punta na tayo kay Cesar Lombroso. So sabi rito, Cesar Lombroso was an Italian criminologist. Okay, then he is also a phrenologist, physician, and founder siya ng Italian School of Positivist Criminology. Okay, he is also known as the father of modern criminology. He rejected the established classical school. So, nireject niya yung classical school ni Cesar Beccaria. Di ba? Then, which held that crime was characteristic of a human nature. Instead, using concepts drawn from physiognomy, degeneration theory, psychiatry, and social Darwinism. So, hindi siya naniniwala na ang crime ay product ng characteristic trait ng human nature, no? So, naniniwala siya sa physiognomy, degeneration, psychiatry, and sa social Darwinism. Okay? Then, si Lombroso's theory, okay, yung Lombroso's theory of anthropological criminology essentially stated that criminality was inherited, that someone born criminal could be identified by physical or yung congenital defects which confirm a criminal as savage or atavistic. So naniniwala kasi si Lombroso na namamana daw ang pagiging kriminal. Okay? So meron nga siyang tinatawag na born criminal na kung saan makikita daw na kriminal ang isang tao based dun sa kanyang physical defects or yung may mga problema sa physical na physical na pangangatawan. For example, yung mga malalaki yung labi, matabay labi, yung mga sarat yung ilong, flat yung ilong, no? Ganun ang sinasabi ni Lombroso na yung mga yun daw ay born criminal. So, pwede nating sabihin, napaka-judgmental pala ni Cesar Lombroso, no? Kasi nagbe-base siya sa itsura ng isang tao para masabi na born criminal daw 'yan. Okay, so eto yung mga sinasabi ni Lombroso na katangian para masabi na born criminal daw ang isang tao, or eto yung mga physical atavistic or stigmata ng tao. So first, large jaws, forward projection of jaw. So yung malalaking panga na kung saan yung baba ay medyo nauuna kaysa dun sa upper lip. Okay? Then may low sloping forehead. So eto yung matataas yung hairline, parang ganon, no? Then next is high cheekbones. Okay, so pasensya na, may nag-istorbo lang, no? So high cheekbones is eto yung matambok yung dito sa cheekbone, no? Yung sinasabi nilang parang may muscle sa pisngi, no? Alsadong-alsado yung cheekbone. Then flattened or upturned nose, no? Yung flat yung ilong, pango. Ayan, grabe si Lombroso sa ating mga Pinoy, no? Flat yung ilong, then upturned or yung parang nakabaligtad daw yung ilong, no? So sarat yung ilong, sabihin na natin ganon. Then handle shape ears, yung hugis nung tenga ay parang hawakan. Okay, then next natin is yung hawk-like noses or fleshy lips. Pag sinabing hawk-like noses is ito yung mga ilong na parang ilong ng witch yung nakikita natin sa mga palabas, no? Yung matangos naman siya pero yung parang pababa, okay? Then, fleshy lips or yung makakapal daw yung labi. Then, hard shifty eyes is ito naman yung masyadong magalaw yung kanilang mga mata. Then, scanty bird, no? Yung maliliit yung kanilang mga balbas pero masyadong matigas daw. Then, baldness, yung pagkapanot, no? So, or pagkakalbo, kasama rin. Then, insensitivity to pain, yung may pagka-manhead, and long arms relative to lower limbs. So, ibig sabihin, masyadong mahaba yung kamay, no? Kasi parang nagiging resemblance daw ng apes, okay? Then, Lombroso's general theory suggested that criminals are distinguished from non-criminals by multiple physical anomalies. So, ma-distinguish daw natin or malalaman natin yung pinagkaiba ng isang criminal sa non-criminal dahil dun sa mga depekto nga daw nila sa itsura or sa pangangatawan. He postulated that criminals represented a reversion to a primitive or subhuman type of person characterized by physical features reminiscent of apes, lower primates, and early humans, and to some extent preserved, he said in Modern Savages. So sinasabi ni Lombroso na yung mga criminal daw ay kumbaga hawig pa rin daw dun sa mga apes, no? Yung iba parang hindi nag-evolve kasi parang naniniwala siya dun sa evolution ni Charles Darwin. Parang ganun sila, no? Na naniniwala na ang tao ay nagmula sa ape. So yung mga hindi nakapag-evolve ng hanggang sa normal na itsura ng tao, yun daw yung mga nagiging kriminal. So, yung behavior of these biological throwbacks will inevitably be contrary to the rules and expectation of modern civilized society. So, yung throwbacks daw na yon, no, yung may mga itsurang ganon, kumbaga, nalalabag nila yung rules and expectation ng modern civilized society. Then, through the years of post-mortem examinations and anthropometric studies of criminals, the insane and normal individuals, Lombroso became convinced that the born criminal or yung reo nato, a term given by Ferry, could be anatomically identified such item as a sloping forehead, ears of unusual size, no? Yun nga, babalik tayo sa kanina, yung mataas yung hairline, malapad yung sa noo, no? Yung binibiro natin sa mga kasama natin. Uy, ang baba naman ng kilay mo kasi sobrang laki ng noo nila. Then, ears of unusual size. Ibig sabihin, sobrang laki, no? Hindi pangkaraniwan yung laki ng kanyang tenga. Asymmetry of the face, hindi pantay yung sa kanyang mukha. Prognatism, excessive length of arms. Prognatism guys is yun nga yung binanggit ko kanina na yung sa may panga is nauuna yung dun sa ilalim, no? Yung parang babalo kung tawagin natin. Then excessive length of arms, yung sabi ko kaninang mahaba, masyado yung kanyang kamay. Asymmetry of the cranium, hindi pantay yung sa skull. And other physical stigmata, no? Or any physical defects pa daw. Specific criminals such as thieves, rapists, and murderers could be distinguished by specific characteristics he believed. So, yung mga specific criminals, katulad ng mga magnanakaw, rapists, and yung mga mamamatay tao, ay meron daw special or specific characteristic yan, no? So, based sa pag-aaral ni Lombroso. Then, Lombroso also maintained that criminals had less sensitivity to pain. So, may pagkamanhead yung mga kriminal. Then, asan na? Ayun, acute eyesight. Okay, so kapag acute eyesight naman or more acute eyesight, ibig sabihin mas malinaw yung mata compared sa ibang tao. And a lack of moral sense, no? Kumbaga, walang konsensya. including an absence of remorse, yung mga walang pinagsisisihan sa buhay. Yung more vanity naman is masyado daw mataas yung pride. Impulsiveness is ito naman yung pagkilos ng hindi nag-iisip, 'di ba? Yung mga mas pinapairal yung emotion, hindi na nag-iisip, no? Kabud na lang kumikilos. Then vindictiveness naman is ah ito yung mahilig maghigante, no? And cruelty or pagmamalupit. And other manifestations such as special criminal argot and the excessive use of tattooing. Special criminal argot, no, yung may mga grupo sila. Then the excessive use of tattooing. So kapag masyadong marami daw yung tattoo, no? So indication din 'yan na pagiging criminal. So until now, no, may mangilan-ngilan pa rin na kapag nakakakita ng tao na may tattoo, ang iniisip masamang tao 'yan, no? So doon kasi natin 'yan nakuha na kapagka maraming tattoo, masamang tao daw, criminal. Okay? So dahil 'yan, pwede natin sabihin na dahil 'yan kay Lombroso, no? Pero luckily, sa panahon naman natin ngayon, kumbaga unti-unti ng ah, naip naipapaalam sa maraming tao na ang tattoo is a form of art, no? So hindi lahat nung may tattoo ay masamang tao. Next natin, besides the born criminal, Lombroso also described criminaloids or occasional criminals, criminal by passion, moral imbeciles, and criminal epileptics. He recognized the diminished role of organic factors in many habitual offender and referred to the delicate balance between predisposing factors na dulot ng organic or ng genetic and precipitating factors naman na dulot ng environment or opportunity or poverty kaya daw nakakakomit ng crime ang isang tao. Then in Criminal Woman, as introduced in an English translation by Nicole Han Rafter and Mary Gibson, Lombroso used his theory of atavism to explain women's criminal offending. So pati yung sa criminal behavior ng babae, inexplain din daw yan ni Lombroso. In the text, Lombroso outlines a comparative analysis of, may compare siya, may sinasabi siyang normal women and yung criminal women such as prostitute. However, Lombroso's obdurate beliefs about women presented an intractable problem for this theory because he was convinced that women are inferior to men. Lombroso was unable to argue based on his theory of born criminal. So naniniwala daw kasi si Lombroso na ang babae inferior or mas mahina or mas mababa kaysa sa mga kalalakihan. Then may nangyari na kung saan hindi na siya nakapag-argue pa daw, no? So base dun sa kanyang theory na born criminal, that women's lesser involvement in crime reflected their comparatively lower levels of atavism. So, masasabi daw na dahil konti lang ang mga ah, nagiging criminal na babae that time, masasabi daw na may lower levels lang ng atavism yung mga kababaihan or konti lang sa kanila yung may mga physical defect. Then, Lombroso's research methods were clinical and descriptive with precise details of skull dimensions and other measurements. So, ayan, humantong pa si Lombroso sa pagsukat ng skull ng mga tao. He did not engage in rigorous statistical comparisons of criminals and non-criminals. No? So, hindi siya ganong gumagamit ng statistics before. Although he gave some recognition in his later years to psychological and sociological factors in the theology of crime, he remained convinced of an identified with criminal anthropometry. So hindi naman as in habang buhay, no, or habang buhay si Lombroso, Hindi naman as in sarili lang niya yung kanyang pinaniwalaan, no? Kumbaga, hindi lang puro biological, no? Kumbaga, na isipan din naman niya na i-recognize yung psychological and sociological factor. Pero kahit ganon is mas pinanindigan lang din niya yung kanyang criminal anthropometry. Then after he died, his skull and brain were measured according to his own theories by a colleague as he requested in his will. So bago mamatay pala si Lombroso, no, sinabihan niya yung kasama niya, kapag ka namatay ako, sukatin mo yung ulo ko based doon sa teorya ko para mapatunayan kung tama ba or mali yung aking pag-aaral. Okay, so ayun, his head was preserved in a jar and is still displayed with his collection at the Museum of Psychiatry and Criminology in Turin. So until now, yung ulo daw niya or yung skull niya ay nakalagay sa isang jar and nakadisplay yan sa Museum of Psychiatry and Criminology sa Turin. So check natin saan ba ang Turin. Okay, so ang Turin ay located sa Italy kasi taga-Italy siya, di ba? So Lombroso's theory, sorry guys. Uh, Lombroso's theories were disapproved throughout Europe, especially in schools of medicine. So hindi naprobahan daw yung mga teorya ni Lombroso, lalo na dun sa mga eskwelahan ng medisina. Notably by Alexander Lacassan in France, lalong-lalo na ni Alexander Lacassan in France. His notions of physical differentiation between criminals and non-criminals were seriously challenged by Charles Goring. Then yung sinasabi natin kanina na teorya ni Lombroso na magkaiba ang mga sukat ng ganto ng criminal sa non-criminal, no? Kumbaga, masyadong sineryoso yon ni Charles Goring na kung saan tinest niya kung totoo talaga yung mga pinagsasasabi daw ni Lombroso. Then, the English convict 1913 who made elaborate comparisons and found insignificant statistical differences. So, yung theory na yan is yung the English convict. Then, inelaborate daw kasi ron kung ano yung comparison ng statistical differences ng criminal sa non-criminal. Ah... So, skip lang natin to, na doble ko lang yung slide. Okay, so ito yung mga classification of criminals by Lombroso. So, meron tayong tinatawag na born criminals. So, yun nga yung sinabi ko sa inyo kanina. Na there are born criminals according to Lombroso. The belief that criminal behavior is inherited, na mamana daw yung pagiging criminal or yung criminal behavior. So, yun nga yung may mga physical defects. Then criminal by passion, ito naman yung mga nakakommit ng crime dahil sa great emotion. For example, yung sobrang galit, sobrang selos, yung mga ganon. Then insane criminals, these are criminals na nakakommit daw ng crime dahil may mga problema sila sa pag-iisip. And at the same time, exempted sila sa criminal liability. Okay, so parang nandun yan dun sa diniscuss natin sa neo-classical. Then, meron siyang tinatawag na criminaloid, a person who commits a crime due to less physical stamina or self-control. Kumbaga, may opportunity kasi or accidental criminal na tinatawag. May opportunity lang, kaya siya nakakommit ng crime. For example, sa isang public place, no, naglalakad ka, then may nakita ka na phone or wallet. Upon pagmamasid, no, nakita mo na walang CCTV, walang mga witness. So, kinuha mo yung pera o yung wallet or yung phone, then hindi mo na hinanap pa kung sino yung may-ari. Inuwi mo na. So, yun yung mga sample ng criminaloid. Nakagawa ka lang ng crime dahil may opportunity naghihintay. Then, meron tayong tinatawag na occasional criminal, those who commit crimes due to insignificant reasons that push them to do at given occasion. So, eto naman yung mga nakakagawa lang ng crime occasionally. Kumbaga, hindi naman nila sinasadya, pero dahil may mga ah, insignificant reason daw na available, is nakaka-commit sila ng crime. Then, yung pseudo-criminal, no? So, eto naman daw yung mga nakakapatay dahil sa self-defense. Kumbaga, ipinagtanggol mo lang yung sarili mo kaya ka nakapatay. So, kino-considered pa rin yon ni Lombroso as criminal, pero ang tawag lang niya ay pseudo-criminal. So, ang self-defense natin, no? Na-discuss ko naman yata nung nakaraan. So, kailangan present yung tatlong element. So, first, unlawful aggression. Dapat yung gagawin sa'yo ng tao ay labag sa batas. Pangalawa, dapat sakto lang yung kilos mo dun sa ginawa sa'yo ng tao. Hindi pwede yung naagaw mo na yung baril, tapos nagmamakaawa yan, binaril mo pa. Hindi yon hindi mo masasabi na self-defense yun. Then, pangatlo, kinakailangan hindi ikaw yung nag-provoke kung bakit kayo nagkaroon ng gulo. Hindi pwede na ikaw yung nauna, tapos nung bumawi siya, then bumawi ka ulit, tapos pinatay mo na. Hindi pwedeng ganon. Okay? Then, next natin ay si Enrico Ferri.